Hey everybody, this is T Sharp. We're back here again with Jason Pierce and Hobbit Racing. So today we're going to be looking at bike modifications to race your motorcycle. We're looking at essential, optional, and spare parts in order to get your bike ready to race.
Awesome. So your essential gear is going to consist of race bodywork, engine protection, tires, which is a big subject, so there's a lot to look into for that. You need to make sure that you have good fluids and that they are flushed and changed regularly so that they're going to keep you safe. You also need to make sure that your brake pads and rear sets are up to snuff so that it's going to be able to support you when you're riding.
So when we're talking about race plastics, basically we're not including anything that a street bike needs. So there's no lights, and the belly pan is specific to, it has a purpose to catch fluids.
Right. You must hold at least 4 ports. You also need to have engine guards so that if you do have your case contact the ground, you don't have an oil streak going down the front straight.
We're looking here, this is your R3. So what are we looking at here in terms of engine protection of this bike?
So it needs race bodywork, including belly pan, engine protection for the clutch, in this case the water pump, and as well as the stator, just anything that sticks out past the frame. I would also look at your tires, making sure that they're in good condition. Street tires won't always work for racing. You're able to use some DOT tires for racing applications. Make sure that you're checking on the reviews for those. Not every street tire is going to work for racing. There are a couple that are kind of street track tires that would be designed for you to push your limits with more safety. If you really are getting fast, make sure you're looking at slicks. Those are going to offer you the best protection in dry conditions. If it's starting to rain, get those slicks off and put on a set of rain tires so that you're able to maintain that traction with the wet.
Jason, you mentioned fluids. Race bikes, you cannot run glycol coolant, is that correct?
You must flush several times because there's still going to be some residual glycol in there. You need to flush that out, distilled water, let it get up to temp, dump it, do that several times, and then refill it with distilled water, and you can also add water wetter to it. Check your rule book to make sure that you're not putting anything you're not supposed to in your bike.
Is there anything else, Jason, that is absolutely essential, non-negotiable for race bikes?
You must have a transponder.
Okay.
Transponder is something you can purchase either used or you can pick up by using a subscription service, but it must be on your bike while you're racing so they can tell when and where you cross the line. Make sure you pick up one of these prior to your first round or you're not going to be able to be timed.
We've gone over, the basic essentials that you need to race. There must be a large list of optional things that we all prefer to have. What might some of those be?
So first and foremost, if you're going to sink money into your bike, if you have it to spare, put it in suspension. A good set of forks and a good rear spring and shock will set you far apart from your competitors.
Right.
Realize, of course, as a new racer, you're going to be investing a lot of energy into figuring out how to even race and how to ride properly. So that's why it's in the optional category instead of in the required.
Right, that's a very good point. Okay, anything else that we can see on your bike here?
I'd recommend 4 other items. Lever guards to protect in case someone else next to you decides they want to push your brake and not you. I'd also recommend tire warmers, especially if you're running slicks. You need to run tire warmers for race applications as a novice. I'd also recommend another set of wheels so you can mount your rain tires to them, and levers that fold in case you hit the ground that they don't snap off. They'll bend.
Will it bend back now? Yeah. So we have essential parts, we have optional parts, and now we want to reference some spare parts because sometimes things do break when we're out there on race weekends. Jason?
Start looking on eBay and collecting parts early. Some parts you want to find early would be levers, replaceable rear sets.
Yeah.
So if you do crash and this breaks off, you can put a new one on. You need to make sure you've got extra nuts and bolts. If you do have an extra exhaust, muffler would be good in case you land on that. That's a pretty large component to replace. So again, if you're staying stock, it's super easy to replace a stock muffler. If you upgrade to an aftermarket, now you're talking some big bucks. Spare radiator and fuel tank if you are looking to go off the turn 1 real quick. I'd also recommend a spare helmet in case you do crash and your bike's fine, but you hit your head on the ground. Instead of being out for the weekend, you can put your spare on. Make sure your beauty's ready to rock and roll and take back off onto the track, obviously, after you pass tech.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these things are good suggestions, and it may not seem like having extra of something is really, essential to be racing, but consider it this way, that if breaking that one item prevents you from racing the next race, and all you did is drop the bike, you know.
In
And,
your pit.
you know, all kinds of things could happen, and if that's just what's preventing you from racing, then having that backup could really make or break your weekend.
Right.
Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm Todd with Fueled Up TV.
And I'm Jason with Hobbit Racing. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, share, and let us know if there's anything else you're looking forward for us to say.
All right, check the other videos.
That'll work. All right.
Okay.